Hi. Good evening, or, well, good evening for me. I don't know if it's evening for y'all's. Hello. Hello, everyone coming on in. Hopefully, your day has gone well, unless your day is just starting. Thanks, Ava. So just some housekeeping stuff. First is the daily heart me. So if you're able to do a daily heart me, that would be great. If you cannot, if you could just tap, tap, tap and give hearts, that's also helpful. Folks like Ava just sent a gift. Like if you can give a gift, great. If you can share instead, that's also great. And also there is the subscription option, which I can tell y'all about a little bit later if anybody's interested. Thank you, Dulcie. So there were 3 things on the docket to talk about tonight, and it may change depending on what the community wants to discuss in the chat a little bit. Oh, also, for those that may be new or have never attended one of my lives, folks need to know that we don't talk about adjacent conversations. And for folks who don't know what adjacent means, it just literally means if it's not about Luke or Nick, we're not talking about it. Oh, Tessa, to heart, you just have to double tap on the screen. Nicole, what's your question? Yeah, no problem, Tessa. I don't know if Nicole is currently typing the question, but the first thing that we were going to thank you, Disney. Awesome. Thank you. The first thing we wanted to talk about. So one of the things I asked actually my subscribers is like, what topics do you want to discuss? And so that helped kind of shape what today's conversation is. Thank you, Stephanie. Oh, okay. Hold on. It looks like Nicole said you want to stop all the hate on him. Quick question to stop all the hate on him. Hate on Luke, Nicole? Ho said you sent me a message. Unfortunately, I won't be able to look at it. Is it something private or is something you can tell me? Can you share out the picture from my page? It depends on what the picture is. What is the picture? And I won't be able to do it until after this live. Read a few up. Okay, read a few up, Nicole said. Well, even when I scrolled up, Nicole, all I see from you is one that says quick question to stop all the hate on him. So I those are the only 2 messages I had seen. Oh, it's a pic from Nicola's story supporting Luke. Oh, I love it. Oh, that is so sweet. Oh, it's an old one, but it's still but still posted. It was an old photo, but or one that just was put up. Thank you, Ronnie. Old photo. Oh, okay. But either way, I mean, we know that she supports Luke, so okay, it's what she posted in June. Okay, gotcha. Oh, so folks are trying actually the funny thing is that post is it the True Gentleman one or a different one? Because the funny thing is it is that one. Can I tell you the funny story about that? That I did a video on that post. That was one of my first videos that I did when I started doing this account. And what had happened was somebody messaged me and said, "Did you know that your post is in Glamour magazine?" That's when I first found out that they had used my link to talk about it. The wild thing is, the video that I did talking about what she had said, then were taken by people. And now people send me messages telling me I saw it on Facebook, or I saw it on Instagram, or I saw it in another TikTok. And I'm pretty sure it's your voice, and it is my voice. In case anybody ever hears, like, if you ever see a video that talks about the true gentleman, all of these different things, the three things that that Nicola would tell you right away, like she disagrees with, or something like that. I forgot what I said back then. If you ever hear that and you're like, does that voice sound familiar? It is true, because that is really what had happened. Somebody took my voice. And the good thing is, right now, a lot of those voices are put on like really great Nicola edits. Like you only hope that your voice is not used to promote something you disagree with, you know? Okay. So, let me look at things. But yeah, I can resend that once I can repost it, I mean. I honestly, I'm thankful for the most part. I have not seen this, and I'm hoping. Here's the thing: when people are like, "Can you be on social media and not see anything?" And I will tell you right now, you absolutely can. So when I say that, if Luke is trying to avoid seeing anything negative about him, he can, and absolutely is absolutely 100% possible. How do I know this? Because I am wholly unaware of so many things. And if anybody should know things, it's me. Because by my content, I would get infiltrated with all this stuff. But because I have very strict guidelines around what I will and will not choose to consume, I don't see this stuff. So I don't even know or realize. I just hear about the hate on Luke, but I actually have never, I don't see it. And I'm hoping that if I don't see it, that Luke has done something for himself to make sure he doesn't see this stuff. Because it can wreck a person's mindset, right? So I'm thankful that, they when they made the decision to leave what is now known as X, that was a decision to guard their mental health, I'm sure. I mean, I'm not positive, but based off of what Nicola said in that one article, when she said, I left the cult of Twitter, right? Because she said, I got in my head that it was okay to be treated this way. And I'm realizing, this is not normal. This is not a normal way for people to engage with other people. So you definitely make decisions on what you can choose to consume. This is why I'm like, if you're constantly consuming things that are, there's some folks that they just made decisions not to look at that stuff because it literally gets their day down. It just messes with their mind. So that's why that's the only reason I've made the decisions that I've made for myself, because I'm like, when people told me yesterday that people were going on a roller coaster of emotions with things with Luke, I'm like, why? And that's the beauty of not knowing, because I'm pretty sure if I did know, I'm like, why are people going down the roller coaster of those emotions, critiquing every little thing he does? Because that's the thing that I'm like, and obviously I'm saying this only to say, it's not a critique on anyone else who makes that decision. And I hope people hear me properly when I'm expressing why I'm even bringing that up. Is I do think that if Luke has made active decisions to avoid this kind of stuff, he can. He absolutely 100% can. And I'm hoping that he did. I'm hoping that he did. But I love the movement. I love the movement, folks. I love the desire to support Luke and to show a concerted efforts to flood things with the positivity of talking about what Luke makes Luke great, who he is as a person. I'm really pro that. Okay, so I'm just looking at these messages. Diana said, wouldn't that post bring attention to Nicola? What if she's trying to stay away from all that? I mean, it is, from what I'm hearing, isn't it the post of Nicola? So I think Nicola still stands by those words. I think she still believes that Luke is a true gentleman, the kindest friend, and a a dream co-star. I think if I'm remembering the three things that she said. So I, again, I think both of them are making active decisions to really avoid this stuff. And it might be like the Matrix. You might need to avoid it like the Matrix, but it can be done. But I think that in order for it to be done, especially for them, because it can be a bit of a whack-a-mole situation because they are so, well, Nicola more than Luke in the sense of like the amount of following that Nicola has. But at certain points, they have to make decisions to just block people so that they don't get this idea that they can have free access into their lives and then act a particular way towards them. Like this idea that part of social media is being willing to get beaten up and like you have to have like thick skin. I mean, yeah, sure. But that's I think that's an excuse for people to do harmful things and say, well, you should have been able to handle it because you're in social media. So that's kind of part of the deal. It is, but it isn't, That's still a choice by people to conduct themselves in a way that is either helpful or harmful to folks. Oh, I'm so behind. I'm so behind. I'm going to still try to look through these messages before I go down to the bottom, even though I recognize I'm way behind because it says 75 new messages. So I know, and going up right now. But let me see what we have. So Nicole Barnes says, are we rewatching right now? Has anyone done the math on how many of us need to rewatch every day? I haven't done a new count, but I actually literally, I'm not going to show you right now because I don't trust the mess that's on my right side. I mean, my left side. But on my left is my laptop and it is playing right now. I'm on episode 6. With 28 minutes and 12 seconds left on it. It is, it's, Cressida. The Cressida scene. So I'm rewatching. Ronnie said, I sadly saw other people talking about the negativity without looking. So yeah, the only reason I know it exists is because people say so. But I have not seen it. And I try to avoid it. I mean, sometimes it creeps into my my comment section. Some people put some stuff. And like I said in one of the videos that I've done before, there is a real fine line sometimes that ends up happening where it's like critiquing a behavior versus like doing a whole character assassination. And in social media, the line quickly, like the switch into the two things are very quick sometimes. There is a way to critique a behavior without like lambasting a person, but in social media, it seems to be like joined at the hips, which, is wild to me. Okay, I have no choice but to go down to the bottom now because I'm way behind on the chat. So I apologize for those that I didn't get a chance to read your messages. So hello to everybody. Ronnie said anything hashtag could pop up. Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, it's not that I've not seen certain things. It's just that I've not allowed myself to percolate on it. So if I see something and I don't want to see it, I either delete it, scroll by it, and just, I mean, maybe I see a glance of it for a minute. I mean, not a minute, like a millisecond, but not any longer than that because that's when curiosity can set in, and I'm not about to be curious about things that are just going to make me unhappy. Not to say that just because something makes you unhappy that somehow it's unhealthy. There's things that can make you unhappy that can still be beneficial to you, but none of these things have been ever beneficial to my life. Like investing my emotional energy on something negative like this has never been beneficial to me in my life. So I've avoided that because it's almost like, when Colin says about torture, and there's times that he self-inflicted his own torture in Bridgerton, right? He's moping around about Penelope. He could have resolved it, but he's putting his own torture around. And sometimes that's what it feels like, where it's like, there's like real life torture, natural torture that comes with existing that you cannot avoid even if you want to. And then there's like torture that you like choose to put yourself through in some ways, like Colin was in not forgiving Penelope. And I'm like, I'm just not going to do it. Like, I already know the negative effect on me. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do that to myself. And that's just a personal choice. And so that's why sometimes people might be like, you're just too specific, and or you're too particular. I might be too particular, but I've just learned what actually helps my mental health and what harms it. And so I'm going to protect it with a fierceness. Um, Nicole said we just want to stop all the hate. It's not good for anyone. And here's the thing, honestly, like the biggest way, and I think this is kind of what y'all are trying to do, right? By trying to flood things with like positive things about Luke. But that is really the best way. It's just that we don't engage in the negative conversation. We do uplift him. And so instead of fighting people on necessarily what they're saying, who are not going to be changing their mind or opinion on Luke, just say who Luke is to you, why Luke matters to you, why you think he is great. And that's all that, to me, it's like nobody can fight you on your personal opinion about Luke, but they will fight you on like disagreeing with their opinion. You know what I mean? I don't know how to describe that, but then it becomes this whole back and forth. And I'm like, well, I was talking to somebody and I said, okay, so are y'all having a conversation with these folks or I mean, like, what's the purpose? Is it, because it's not that they're going to change their mind. I mean, they could potentially change their mind, but if they change their mind, it's because they choose to change their mind. Rarely are people convinced in an argument that they're wrong. Instead, they tend to double down. Like they tend to double down even more when somebody says, that's not true. I don't, versus like, this is what I believe about Luke. Like they can't fight that because that's what you believe about Luke and what I believe about Luke. I don't know. Anyways, I'm being blunt again. I don't know. Hopefully people hear me as I intend. And if not, I'll try to clarify. Nicholas said, remember what Nick said, don't believe everything you read online. Absolutely. Ikimura girl said, it has to be messing with their mental health with all this negativity. That's why I'm like hoping that they have put parameters so that they don't have to see this. That's what I think. That's what Nicola did for herself when she left, X, or then Twitter, because you can't control what other people do. You can only control what you do and what you choose to consume and what you choose to allow in your space. And sometimes people invade your space. And sometimes people want to like break you down. Like and when you have a big following or you have notoriety like they do, it's much harder. Again, it becomes like a whack-a-mole. But I think they have to hopefully do things to protect themselves, which unfortunately means that folks that are willing to engage or are capable of engaging in healthy ways with them might not even get those experiences anymore because they have to protect themselves from folks that might have dubious intent or harmful intent. So Haza said, wonderful co-star and post them on their stories or accounts to drown out the negativity and change the narrative. Kat said, not blunt at all. Okay, thanks. And sometimes I feel blunt. I mean, I'm direct for the most part, but like people still say I'm usually typically measured, but sometimes, yeah. I mean, Sarah Harris 973 said some people straight up harassing these actors. Ew. And I mean, sometimes when people are doing something like that, I feel like it's like a cry for attention, a cry for people to see them. It's an unhealthy way of getting attention, but it's an effective way. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's such a wild thing. Like, folks wouldn't do something if it didn't get them what they needed. And what I have found, like what somebody once said, if you want a post to go viral, say something incorrect. Like misspell something, say something that doesn't completely make sense to people. Now I've accidentally made videos like that, but not intentionally, just because sometimes I've actually just been vague, but it wasn't meant to stir that, but it actually is true. Like, because people love to tell other people they're wrong. That's how they go viral. So if they have like a misspelling, like people love to tell them you misspelled that, or you did this wrong, or you did that right. I mean, did this wrong. It's a surefire way to get engagement from folks, because people can't help but tell other people they're wrong. I don't know what it is. If there is any conversation about adjacents, and I've already said it until my face is blue, are my moderators here? Just immediately mute them. If it happens again, I mean, and if you happen to know who these folks are, give me a list of names, if you're my mod, and DM me, because I will then just officially block them if because I've said it too many times at this point. I've said it too many times. I've had grace before, but I'm not going to do it one more time. Ria Hill 251 said, "Why do people even hate him? I'm not understanding. I thought we were all fans." I don't understand either, to be honest. I don't understand. Empress said, "You don't need to clarify anything, your platform, your views." I mean, I agree with that. Because I don't go onto other people's platforms and dictate to them how they are to engage with their people, or what things that they put. Like, I had messaged, I was talking to the shipper about how I was really, so the shipper's doing a podcast. I think with Diana. Is Diana in the space? I think I saw Diana. But I said I really appreciated the little disclaimer in the beginning of like the promo they were doing about like, this is what it's going to be about. And if you're not into that, if this is going to be like offensive to you, or it's going to be something that disturbs you, like, you got to stay away from this content. But they're giving you forewarning. And like I said, like, just because I don't do particular kinds of content doesn't mean that I'm saying like other people cannot. I appreciate the fact that they gave the forewarning. Like, I'm like, it's just wild to me if somebody gave you a forewarning about what the content is, to go into their space and be like, why are you making that thing? You know, even if I disagreed with somebody on something, like I just don't go into their spaces. I block their accounts. There's so many folks that said, hey, there's this particular person that's going in everybody's live right now. I said, what's the at? Because I'm going to do a preemptive attack, and not preemptive attack, but I'm going to respond proactively and just block the person before they come into this space and try to cause a ruckus. There's another person that they're like, hey, this person's been following people. I'm like, what's the at? Like, you know, so if people just if people know what certain like platforms are about, and if you disagree with it, don't go there and give them views. Just, you know, go to the places that you do agree with. And I do need to preface this, actually, because I also don't want to give this up. This kind of idea, because this is also dangerous, and I realized it as I was speaking. I'm not talking about living in silos. Okay, I'm not talking about like I'm only listening to things I like, and I'm not going to choose to listen to anything that will challenge me as a person. I'm not going to listen to people who I disagree with. I'm not talking about that. There is absolutely 100% healthy disagreement and healthy conflict that exist. But I'm saying that many a times the engagement I have seen in social media hasn't been necessarily of the healthy conflict kind. So, I mean, and I will always engage with someone who's willing to have a conversation and a real back and forth. But I'm not going to tolerate someone who has a very, has an intention to just cause ruckus. Like, that's a person looking for attention. I'm not gonna give them that attention. They're just gonna disappear. And they'll try to find someplace else that, will give them what they're hungry for. Um, because you get what you feed, you know? I got too riled up. I think a part of the reason I'm a little bit riled up right now too is I almost paused about getting on this live right now because I had just finished a exchange with someone that I think got me emotionally like elevated, and I was trying not to be like frustrated and upset, but I think I was. So I was trying to like, oh, like you're gonna be doing this live right now. Like, can you be in the mental headspace to conduct yourself in a way that is like good? So I think part of like my like hyperness right now comes from a previous conversation that's seeping into this one. And so I'm trying to be present at the moment because that's I think lingering in my brain. NLC80 said all of this is making me worried for season 4 with all the negativity. Here's the thing that I want to encourage you with, NLC80. There is a whole lot of people that don't know this stuff is happening. There's a whole lot of people that are actively supporting people, I mean Luke and Nicola. I think what happens, and I don't know if you're chronically online, NLC80. I am though. I am. And so what happens when, for me, like someone like me who's chronically online, I get so exposed to so much information, I forget that the majority of the world is not getting the same information as me. So they're really not knowing, like when I talk to people who do like Bridgerton, but are not on TikTok, not, or they're, maybe they're on Instagram, maybe they're on, but like they're not like digging deep into comments or likes or any, like they're so wholly unaware. And I think that's the majority, to be honest, that rather than rather than them being the minority, I think they actually are the majority. So I know it feels intense and it feels like it's overwhelming and it feels like everybody's against Luke and it feels like all of this stuff. But in the reality is there's a lot of people that care about Luke, that care about Nicola, that care about the show, and they could care less about all this other stuff. And they really don't expose themselves to it. It just feels like it if we're daily consuming stuff that makes us feel like everybody's feeling the same way. When in reality, majority of the time, that's not the case. Desiree underscore Michelle said, I think I just want to look for something to hold on to since we aren't seeing Luke and Nicola daily. Yeah. Okay. Um, KKA.RII said healthy conflict is definitely possible, but bullying and spewing hate is just mean. Absolutely. Absolutely. And so that's why I'm saying like when I say like I block folks, it's not because oh somebody disagrees with me. I mean, people can disagree. I can have people with conflict, but it's people who sometimes I mean like definitely bullying and spewing hate, definitely. Those get blocked. But sometimes it's just folks not respecting people's boundaries or are just complaining about the content. It's like, why are you here if you're going to complain about the content? Like, there's so many other things that you might enjoy. So you investing your time on my page does not make sense. Okay, Nicholas said, let's talk about the carriage scene. Okay, I am behind. So let's talk about the carriage scene. So I don't know if folks have watched what is the content creator's name? Christina. It starts with an M. Do y'all know who I'm talking about? Christina and last name M. Yeah, like that name Tam. Yeah, I don't know if somebody can put the at, but someone sent me a DM saying, "Hey, look at this. It's on Instagram and also on YouTube." So two different content creators. One was the Instagram one was I think it's Christelle. Okay, so Christelle on the Instagram one, and then on the YouTube one, I forget who the content creator was, but it was somebody different. But it was both the ones where they strip away the sound of strip away the music and it's just the carriage scene sounds, right? And now I heard I really want this. However, someone else said they heard baby I want this or something like that. The thing is, I told people close your eyes and listen to this and you'll hear it immediately. And it's one of the few things where people say listen to it and I actually hear it so clearly. Well, though I'm not sure if it's clearly now if one person says it's baby, not really. Um but because I know that some people have said they heard the "You're Beautiful." That one I still have a hard time fully hearing. I think I hear "Beautiful," but for the most part, I still struggle fully to hear that particular portion. But I definitely hear, I really want. I really want this. I really want this. It was a very clear statement. And so I did a video on that. Thank you, Tam, for putting that at here for folks that might be interested in checking out her page. So I made a video for my subscriber base so they could watch like my thoughts on that and why like I felt what I felt in regards to that scene, and just ask people to close their eyes and listen. And the bulk of my subscribers who chose to respond in the chat had said like they heard it very clearly. So I don't know if people have heard it or not. I don't know which part did you, which section of the video did you listen to, Diana, where you didn't hear anything? Because I don't know if, the thing is, if people could go to the at that Tam put up, then the video that I'm talking about should be there. Or if you're a subscriber, you've already seen it potentially. If you haven't seen it yet, it's there. It's like maybe it's the last video. Maybe it's the last video I've done for subscribers. Lynn's 78KKB, the carriage scene is what I'm talking about. And I would say that I want you to like close your eyes while you're listening to it. Because when this person told me what they heard, I didn't want to be influenced to thinking that I heard it. So I don't know what it is about closing maybe it doesn't help other people, but it definitely helps me when I close my eyes so I could just concentrate. And it was like clear as day to me when it was said. Tam said, yes, I heard it. That was hot. Diana said the whole thing, I just hear breathing. I don't know. Thank you, Courtney. I don't know, Diana, if you are you watching the same clip that is at the Christelle's page? I mean, it's also in a YouTube video as well, but because it's definitely clear. I mean, I shouldn't say it's definitely clear because I obviously have had times where other people have heard something very clearly and I just cannot hear it whatsoever, no matter how much I try. This just was not one of them. Kimura the girl, where is it on her page? I don't know because it was given to me in a like in the DM. So it already linked me directly to it. So I'm not sure where it is on the page specifically, but it should be a carriage scene one. Now, I don't know if she has multiple carriage scene ones, but I'm trying to remember right when it happened. I think it was either right before or right after he started going full on Nicola or on Penelope as Colin. CM S0501 said 100% heard it, but I wasn't sure on the first part. First part being like the really part or the baby part, or What do you think? Tessa underscore Marie dot 11 said, "What are your thoughts? Thoughts on the carriage scene, or thoughts on something else?" Oh, you know what? You're right. I forgot. Okay. Thank you, Flower with Stars. You said on Insta or TikTok. It was Insta. Sorry. But that ad that Tam provided is still, I believe, the same ad as what it is on Instagram. And I didn't check if it is on her TikTok, because some things I think might just be on her Instagram and not on her TikTok yet. So I don't know. So you might have to check her Instagram if it's not on her TikTok. Oh yeah, Ronnie, if you yeah. The hard part is, even if you go look, you can't put links in here in chats. So I don't know how we'll get it to folks, except maybe people can DM me, but I won't be finished with this live until 8 o'clock. So if some people want to just check it out now, like, you would have to go to Christelle's Instagram and look for it that way, because I totally forgot it was Instagram, not TikTok. Um, Maria said, "Have y'all seen the last scene where Nicholas on top and the narrations and music is off?" No. Oh, and the narrations? The narrations, like, but no. Like, did someone do no music on that one too? I mean, which would not be surprising since everybody else is already people do it all the time. Um Courtney said, "I took a vacay from Luca Island and feel like I have so much to catch up on." Um Actually, I don't know if you do, Courtney. I mean, there's not been too much. I think the lack of things is probably the reason why I think people are looking at a lot of things because of that. Because there hasn't been as much direct contact, direct information from them. So I think people are looking high and dry for conversation, which can sometimes, like, boredom can cause people to get too much, I think, sometimes on things. Elliot Bridgerton said, "At this point, we need a link on these videos." GL Benner said it helps to use headphones. Whitwork P32 said, "Oh no, I'm late. What did you hear during carriage scene?" Personally, I heard, "I really want this." But somebody said they think "baby, I want this," or someone else said they thought it was some. The one thing that's clear that everybody heard is "want this." Now, some people have different variations of what they think they hear before this statement "want this," but I'm fairly sure I heard "I really want this." But I'm willing to re-listen to it. But it felt so clear to me when I was listening with my eyes closed, but I'm willing to re-listen to it and maybe rethink if I heard it incorrectly. As he said, "I'm going to listen and I'll be right back." Kimorova girl said, "I can't find it on her page." Okay, so that's probably before I had mentioned when Flower with Stars reminded me that it's on the Instagram and not on TikTok. I apologize, and I'm behind again, so maybe I'm saying things. Let's see. Oh, and Philip says, "Lady Whistle Dan." I do feel like I'm like, "Could you be quiet during that one?" LOL. Maria said, "Yes, no music, and Lady Whistledown was saying her goodbye," which I meant by narration. Sorry to confuse you. Okay. It sounds like M. Phillips was bothered by Lady. Be quiet. I'm trying to listen to Penelope or Colin or whatever. That would be very interesting. But I do agree with folks that it's better to have headphones on. Um, and I don't tell people exactly where it is, because I was waiting to hear it, because I'm like, if I sit here and I don't hear it, then I know that I can't hear it. But I heard it the first listen. It wasn't something that I had to replay over and over again to be like, oh, where is it at? How come I missed it? Okay, Nicholas said, I heard baby. Okay, Michelle said, I heard baby, I want this. Okay, so people are saying it's baby. Okay, so people are saying it's baby. I need to re-listen to it, because I thought it was like, I really want this, but, you know, baby, I want this. I mean, hey, I prefer it. I mean, either one works for me. Jam said, yes, use headphones and close eyes. The sound is, okay, how do I describe that? Like when it's like really hot and sweaty, emoji. Trish said, yes, I could have sworn I heard the same so clearly. Basia said that they think it says, do you want this? Queen C said, just joined, what are we talking about? Hopefully I answered that question. I just don't know when you came in. But basically, we're talking about the carriage scene from Christelle's Instagram. And there was an ad that was provided for folks to go to Instagram and check out that carriage scene. And you can hear, I had originally heard, I really want this. But people are saying they hear, baby, I want this. And some people say they hear, do you want this? Hi, Cloudy Clouds. Can somebody restate the Insta at and then and put, like, pin it again, so in case other folks still need it, because it feels like, okay, people were answering that, so okay. Roddy says, we're not picky, like all of it. Either CMS0501 said, either way, he wanted it. Thank you, Tam. So that is, that's the at for folks that are still wondering where to look for that video and re-listen to it. I mean, we could do a poll for folks who have heard it, but I don't know if people want to do a poll on it or not. But either way, he did want it. I mean, unless the other person who heard, do you want this, is right, and then he wasn't saying he wanted it more than he was asking if she wanted it. But anyway, either way. And Philip says, has anyone considered whether or not these scenes have been altered beyond removing music? So that's always a concern. Minnie, sure. You can put the 3 options. I mean, because I always do the like red and blue ones simply because I don't have time to type it out. But I know that you do those like ones with options. So I think one of the options is I really want this, baby, I want this, or do you want this, are the 3 options. But have I considered that some of these scenes have been altered? It's always a possibility, especially with AI. That's always a case. And this is what I answered to folks in the past. It comes down to whether you trust your source or not. And what I mean by that is, Christelle has always stated when she has added anything, I believe, in the past, like in the Modiste scene, she mentioned that she added horse sounds to so it wouldn't be so like quiet, like not quiet, but like has it more authentic with the sounds of the horse's feet. But like I feel like she has owned when she's added something for effect, but she has not added like the voices. Also, because 2 different people put up this sound, but they weren't I think the first person, I don't remember who the person is. It's on YouTube. Had the carriage scene available there. So they're not the same content creator. And they didn't put it around the same time at all. And I think they're both using the same kind of tool though that removes the background noise, and both of them have this sound. So I will say it's never definitively 100% not possible. And it just comes down to sometimes there is a level of trust that you have to have that people are not whatnot. So it looks like Minnie has posted the poll, and there's 2 minutes of that left. Okay. So right now, at this moment, I really want this is winning so far with 66.67% of the votes. Ooh, do you want this is coming second already coming back. Okay. Baby, I Want This right now is the one that is. Oh wait, now it's tied with Do You Want This? Okay. So, I'm just going to keep looking at these chats. Oh my word, I didn't realize how behind I was again. Oh wait, it's because people are people voting that way? I don't know. Oh, you never see this polls, Melissa? Melissa's, I don't know if it's in the same section as me, but I see it in the top left-hand corner, and it has like a little clipboard on it, and it has a countdown of like 40 seconds right now. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, it's in the corner with a timestamp, a little blue clipboard. Millennial underscore mini said, when does he say it? I couldn't get past the breathing. Cloudy Cloud says, where can I find the videos of video friends? It's in that Christelle's Instagram. I can't. You'd have to make. I know the chats are scrolling so fast. Okay, so 43.33% said I really want this. 36.67% says baby I want this, and 20% says do you want this. So what 100? But you know what that says? 100% says want this. That is at least the thing that we can all definitively say that we know we all heard, which is want this. So, and nobody heard, don't want this. It's all want this. So either it's, I really want this, baby, I want this, do you want this? But it'd be interesting to see what other folks get, you know, once people have the choice to hear it. Okay. Flower with Star said, as much as I wish he said baby, I think he'd stick to period accurate words. Now, here's the thing. The reason I'm saying baby's not off of the baby is not out of the question, is the fact that Luke, now I gotta fact check myself, but I believe that Luke said there's zero dialogue during this scene. So that's why anything that we hear was not a written script thing. That, I mean, if it was, they would have never put music on top of it, right? But he says, like, aside from the thing that he, like, his confession and all these different things, the actual dialogue, the actual kissing scenes doesn't have any dialogue in it. So, again, if there was any written dialogue for that particular scene, they would not have put so much music on top of it. Tam said it's about 45 seconds in when he says it. Okay. Abby said, love your lives. Oh, thank you, Abby. I mean, I love the folks that join me. Thank you, Lily. I love the folks that join me because, like, they help me. They help get my attention. Like, okay, let's move it along. Nicola was like, okay, can we talk about the carriage scene now? Enough ranting about that. Which I appreciate because sometimes I get lost in the sauce. And so sometimes my mods help me out by letting me know, hey, you're behind the chats, but people are ready to move on. And it's like, oh, thank you. Thank you for helping me out. Ronnie said either way, they knew they needed to add music. Kimura Girl said, I listened again and I heard baby, I want this. Cloudy Cloud says, how do you spell crystal? Maria said, is it in the subtitles? No. They would not have it in the subtitles. Again, they're not supposed to have any dialogue during that scene. That's why it has heavy music, because they're supposed to just be making out. They're not supposed to be talking to each other. But, you know, sometimes I guess they can't help themselves. Kimmy said, hi, what did I miss? Oh, Kimmy. What I will say, Kimmy, is I'm going to try to upload this video when it's available. Maybe I'll try to upload it by tomorrow, and then you can rewatch. Because, I mean, the difficulty for me sometimes is I do want to tell people, you know, what they missed, but sometimes it's just better to watch the lives back. And I'm sorry for that, Kimmy. But the basic gist was about the carriage scene and what we thought we heard. Or for me, what I believed wholeheartedly I heard, which is I really want this. But I'm willing to listen back and see if it's baby. Lily says, love your lives too. Thanks, Lily. Oh, Chrissy said baby stands out more to me than want this. LOL. That's what I heard first. Oh. See, when somebody tells me that, I'm like, Okay, maybe I really need to re-listen to it and see if I hear baby. And Philip says, all right, going to listen. I'm going to split screen it so I can see the chat. Natalie said, just got here. What scene are we talking about? It's the carriage scene. LB said, is this why they couldn't hear cut? Possibly. Minnie said, yeah, I don't think he was in character at all during that scene. LOL. Millennial_Minnie said his eyes were dilated in that scene, by the way. Well, the hard part about that Millennial_Minnie is the fact that it's so dark. I think both of their eyes would have to be dilated, just naturally because of the environment. But at the same time, I mean, probably like, what is that? I forgot what the word is. Ham said, and it wasn't intended for us to hear, so accuracy is thrown out. True. Ronnie said, yep, not scripted. That boy was caught up. GL Benner said, yes, they said no dialogue, but dear Lord, everyone there heard it. That's the thing. Okay, so people said, think about the fact that the cast and crew could hear this stuff. And people are like, why does the cast and crew and production all seem to be shipping them? It's because they heard things. I think at the end of the day. With all that said, we obviously they are actors. And I want to be very clear about that, because I think the thing that we don't want to ever take away from them is like, people are like, oh, then so they weren't acting. And I mean, they're still acting. I just think there are moments that I do think they get lost, but I don't want to take away from their ability to act and bring us on this journey and bring us, into the story. But yeah, I definitely think that there were moments that can get lost in it. Maria said, I add to my delusion. I don't care. Nicholas said, and now we know why they didn't hear cut. Stop. Or maybe Lukey did. The Greenbird Brigade said, I showed my husband the carriage scene without music. What did your husband say, the Green Brigade? Tam said, right, they heard it all. Kim says, it drives me crazy. Kimura girl said, don't they wear mics? Tanya said, I think they definitely heard stuff. Maria said, no music for the crew, just moans and smooches. A. May said, I'd be peeking in there if I was in the crew like a creep. Let's see here. Maria said they got the raw stuff. Oh, Danielle said, I'm not sure it's that dark when they're filming. When you watch some behind the scenes, the set is well lit. You know what? You bring up a point, Danielle, that I'm pondering. They did a lot of loud music for the background on some of their things, right? But the other thing that's been very curious is their choice to darken a lot of the scenes. And then people lighten it up and we're like, whoa, no wonder they darkened up the scenes. So maybe. But then at the same time, a part of me is like, it is supposed to be nighttime that they're on this carriage. So it can't be too light, because they have to be at night in this carriage, because that's what the scene showed, that they were going home at night. But I am curious about how dark the lighting seems to be in some of these scenes, where it's like, shouldn't it be a little bit lighter? Shouldn't we be seeing things a little bit more? So it just makes you wonder sometimes. Ronnie said, that's probably why they moved up the season, LOL. They just wanted them to kiss already. Oh, Oh, Court B coming out with a different option. Court B says, I hear, tell me you want this. Either way. Oh my word. Tell me you want this. That's a little bit, that's, maybe. I mean, I'm not, see, none of these, I'm not mad at any of these options at all. Like, tell me you want this. I'm like, okay. But, I'll, at this point, still 100% everybody here's want this. Lauren said, which scene was taped first, Carriage or the scene where they are against the building? I don't know. I do not know. I wish I knew. Ronnie said that camera woman enjoying the show close up. Mona said, imagine the crew looking at each other when they hear certain things. They're like, instead of like, what do you call those folks that like do the carriage, like the carriage drivers? I don't know if that's the official title for carriage drivers, but like the carriage driver. Thank you, Lily. You know, people joke about them hearing things like if it was real life. Well, in real life, like the cast and crew. Thank you, Ava. The cast and crew were hearing stuff. Oh, Kimura girl said, plus the 4 people moving the carriage to make it move. And it's like, what if they were like, okay, fine, we're not even needed. It was rocking on its own. No, just kidding. I'm just playing. Maria said, don't the eyes try to catch the light? Just curious. I don't know. Megan said they might have had to make it darker because it was too hot. That's what I was wondering. Trish said, curious, has anyone listened to Kate and Anthony or Daphne and Duke spicy scenes like these pollen ones? Yet, like, when they've talked about these intimacy scenes, they talked about it so like, you know, there's nothing sexy about these scenes. You know, they tell us where to place our hands and all these different things. Only like Pollen described these scenes very differently. We had so much freedom. Like, but the thing is, the reality is, they had freedom because of the relationship that they do have and the friendship that they do have for over these years. Because even they said it themselves, like when Colin had to do that scene with those, the brothel scene, right? It was odd for him to have to do that with strangers. And like, they know they couldn't have been as free as they were in those scenes if they didn't have deep trust for each other. And that deep trust was really necessary. Woke for P32 said, I want to know what he was about to say behind the scenes when he saw her in the wedding dress. Oh, because she asked him, like, are you nervous? And he's like, yeah. And then somebody did the shh. But then some people are like, well, maybe the shh wasn't for him, but he thought it was for him. And then he was like, yeah. But I don't know. Guess we'll never know. Sab M said carriage drivers should be hired by Lady Whistledown to get all the insights. Oh, they always know. They know all the things. Minnie said, I said the same thing. LOL. They didn't need those men. Thanks again, Lily. Miss Twisted said, I'm gonna listen back the carriage scene right now. Kristen said the Capital FM interview, Luke talks about avoiding eye contact with the guy shaking the carriage. I wonder if the folks, what if the guys shaking the carriage were like cheesing? What if they just looking at him like, no, that's just me. That would have been. Maria said they were free to do what they wanted in a respectful way. Yeah. It had to be something that both felt very comfortable with. And I think that's the reason why they had so much freedom. Without, like, that also speaks a lot to their communication. So, so it is, I'm staying on this live until 8 o'clock. So my question to folks is, do we want to continue to talk about the carriage scene, or did any folks want me to move on to discussion about the Polaroid? because you decide. I can keep talking about the Carriage, or we can talk about the Polaroid. Okay, there are folks that are saying Polaroid. Okay, so PolaroidGate, yes. Ronnie said we can double back. LOL. Yes. So the Polaroid, I got messages. I actually got 2 emails from different people with pictures of the Polaroid. So the first one, actually, I got a DM first that said, "Oh, Nicola took a picture with her phone that showed the Polaroid," and the thing was, like, by the time I looked at the Instagram, I was like, she's not using her phone for the to take the photo, and it turned out she had deleted that photo and replaced it with her friend taking the photo with her phone. I was like, interesting decision. So I made a video for my subscriber base on it, and I took the first photo and zoomed in, and then I did the second photo. And in the second photo, she had the phone upside down, so I switched it where it was facing the same way as the previous photo. And I personally screamed because I was like, that's definitely Luke. And in where other people are probably like, Ronnie was like, that's a blob. Like, what are you making out there? But the reason I personally was like, that looks like Luke to me, is because I was like, I have seen him in this outfit before. And I know it's just a blob. And those who subscribe to me, who's seen the video, you probably are also like, this is just a blob, Phoebe. Like, you're trying too hard. And maybe I am. But it literally looked like, and I gave a picture of what I felt like it reminded me of, because even the hair reminded me of when they were filming Bridgerton still, and he was wearing, because to me, the picture, again, I recognize is just a blob. There's a white t-shirt the person is wearing under, and on top of it is like some sort of blue outfit. And his hair was longer at that point. It wasn't, well, I mean, actually it could have been shorter, but I don't know if it's because the outfit reminded me of a scene in Bridgerton that made me assume that the hair was wavy, but it could have been cut short too. Anyways, other folks might be thinking I'm ridiculous, but I felt like it's like when I zoomed into that frame, I could see the make out like the person's figure. So the thing is, the original photo that she deleted, she had her finger on top of the person on the right. And so there's some folks that were like, oh, it's not the same Polaroid. Like she moved it or whatever. But like, it's, both photos are the same Polaroid. Unless they were talking about like, it's different from the original Polaroid, that's correct. It's different from the original Polaroid. It's not the same Polaroid at all. However, like, I do feel like the person to the left would have been Nicola, potentially. The person to the right is Luke. But I don't know that definitively. It's just how it looks like to me. But again, you know, some folks are like, literally a blob, Phoebe. Like, but to me, I could tell. I mean, I mean, I could be wrong, though. I could 100% be wrong. I recognize that. But I feel like, I just feel like it is. What was it? The Galway selfie. Could folks, I think new Polaroid maybe from Galway, that white top with black hat. Black hat. Oh, wait a minute. No, what were they wearing? Because I feel like the person was standing. Isn't the Galway picture them sitting? Ronnie said, I'm here for the Delulu. I know you're like, it's a blob, Phoebe, but you're here for the Delulu, huh? Tam said it's definitely Luke, but I think it's either them hugging or him looking back at her. The thing is, the person who I think is Luke is leaning to his, leaning this way. So he's leaning to his right, because the person is standing. I mean, like the person who I fairly sure is Nicola, because why would Nicola have a picture of someone else and Luke on her? It wouldn't make sense. So, and it makes sense in the way, like, people always say, like, it was hard to find interviews with Nicola not to Luke's left. But whenever Nicola is to his right, he tends to lean more. He tends to reach out more. So it wasn't surprising to me that in this photo, the person was leaning to their right, because the other person that was in the picture was to their right. Danielle said, I saw the blue too. Yeah, it was like a white shirt with I've seen this outfit before, and that's why I think I was like, this is definitely Luke. I've seen this outfit before. And he tends to be like a repeat. I don't know if he's a repeat outfit person. I mean, it makes sense that he would be. For example, like, remember the famous photo of him and Nicola? You know, the thing that broke the internet, when he was wearing the white hat with the white white shirt with green on top, and then his hand was resting on right on what, her hip or whatever, in the restaurant where people don't want to leave. You know, that the thing is, like, we've always thought of that as being, I think, right when she went to watch his play. But that same outfit, this is another video I did for the subscribers, but there was a video of him doing rehearsals for Vienna. I think it's Vienna, whatever the name of the new animated movie he's doing, or he did, that's going to be released. And he was wearing exactly the same outfit. So it was a kind of question of like, oh, was he filming this when he saw Nicola too? Or is this just another time he's wearing the same outfit? Which is very possible. But it's a very specific mix and match of clothes that I'm like, would he really literally wear exactly the same outfit? But maybe. I mean, he is a dude, so it's not like well, I mean, that doesn't mean anything, but Elliot Bridgerton said maybe one of the costume fittings, possibly, honestly. Kristen said, Nick is getting us talking about the Polaroid to redirect attention from other things. Well, I'm glad she is. It's a good redirect, if that's the case. Mona said, if the Polaroid is not of them, why delete the first post? Only my thoughts. If the Polaroid is not of them, why delete the first post? Only my thoughts. I wonder if it is a redirect, honestly, Mona. Just kind of like what Kristen pointed out. Just get people talking about something other than putting, like, all the negativity. People love mysteries. And maybe that's what it is just to get people talking about something else. Also, on top of it, the picture that she originally had, her finger was on top of the second person. So, and the one that she was showing is the person that I think was her. So when she redid it, and her friend was taking the photo, her finger was down, but like the finger now covered her, but showed the person that she was standing with, which to me looked like Luke. So I'm like, a part of me is like, was it more incriminating, the picture that she deleted, or was the second photo actually more helpful? Because the second photo that she did keep has the person that she's standing next to, which really looks like Luke to me. Again, maybe I'm making that up in my brain because I want it to be Luke, but I'm genuinely felt like I've seen this outfit on Luke before. Even though it looks like a blob, there was something very familiar about the blob, if that makes sense. I don't know how to describe it. It just looked like a familiar blob. It's kind of like when you've been looking at somebody for so long that you're like, I can tell their figure from afar, kind of thing. So I don't know how to describe it. And I mean, and at the same time, I 100% will say like I could be 100% incorrect, and it could just be my wishful thinking. It's just that I really genuinely feel like I've seen this outfit on Luke before. Cindy says she's so savvy. Shelly says she's teasing us. That's why. Kirsten said, I think she knows we are all about the fun clues and hints. Yeah, and I think it's a like kind of like a fun mystery rather than like a harmful one, you know. The Greenbird Brigade said she knew people would already have screenshot it. I think it was all intentional. I mean, she's not wrong. I mean, Greenbird Brigade is not wrong. I mean, folks are with a quickness. Like, people are monitoring and they are. I mean, I don't know why I just made that sound. Sorry. that was the weirdest sound for me trying to say people are taking a screenshot. I don't know what that sound is. If I upload this video, not if, I will upload this video, but like, I'm going to replay that and listen to myself being like, why did you make that noise? Kim said, Nick knows us too well. May said, I've never been more committed to a cause in my life like getting these numbers up. That's actually the third conversation I wanted us to have, and I was going to touch base at 7:30 to see if at 7:30 if people wanted to move to that discussion, and I'll touch base around 7:30 and see if folks want to talk about that a little bit. But the Greenbird Brigade said, did you see her friend's story with the same pic? She said, yep, we did that. Did what? Is that the other mystery that people are going to read into what we did that? Or is there context that makes sense with the, yep, we did that? Kimura girl said, my husband is invested in the ship now. Yes. Come on board. Come aboard, my man. KM Shoppy said, oh no, my hope was that it was a photo of them together. Chris said, maybe it's a picture of Nick and Luke T to promote his coming season and teasing us. I'm trying to think about that. I mean, that is actually quite a possibility. That's not totally out. That's not totally out as an option. I'm trying to think about her finger placement and the height difference. The height difference between Luke Thompson and Nicola, and what the distance was of the person that was standing to. But I don't. Is Luke Thompson a leaner of head? Does he? I have to look at the photos. That Luke Thompson takes with Nicola, because whoever this person was in this photo, they lean to the right to get closer, or to like. So if Luke Thompson tends to do that too, and not just Luke, like our Luke, then yeah, it's a possibility. But what is also the height difference between Luke Thompson and Luke Newton? I always feel like I'm saying his last name wrong. That's why I'm like avoiding it. But because that could also play in the part. Because sometimes, you know, you do like sizing based off of like her finger size in comparison. And you like take her finger size when she was holding the photo on the original photo. You know, and it's like, what is anyways, there's a lot of different ways people can be like, is that height difference make more sense for Luke Thompson than Lukey Newton? Or does it make sense more for Luke N? TK say, looks like a new Polaroid today from Galway. Wait a minute. Am I missing something? What do you mean? Okay, TK, what does that looks like a new Polaroid today from Galway? Okay, I realize I'm way behind again. I get lost in the sauce. Oh, Luke T is an inch shorter than Luke N? Flower with stars? Really? Really? How come I've always thought Luke T was taller? Oh, but then you know what? I remember now them standing together when they were all in a circle at the London premiere, and like Nicola was looking lovingly at all of them. I mean, either of them, really, honestly, at different times of the day. But like, and I guess, yeah, you're right. So it's not that like dramatic of a difference. The Greenbird Brigade said, but the man's hair looked very dark. Yes, it was definitely like dark hair. Amy said both Lukes are pretty close in height, like within an inch, I think. What? Luke Thompson is 5'11"? Oh, now that makes sense with Nicola being like, always joking with Luke about how like a man who thinks he's 6 foot, oh no, 6'1", but not quite, or something like that. Lisa, the fact that we all have the suspicion, same feeling about them isn't a coincidence. Elliot said Luke T and Nicola have pics where their heads are connected, but when standing up, Luke T does not tilt his head. Okay, that's helpful because this person, I'm just by like what I could see, was standing and was leaning to the right. Which I felt like, not only did I feel like it was Luke because I felt like I had seen this outfit on him before, I thought it was Luke because of the mannerism of the leaning. A clean house with muddy boots says call him Lukey Newts. Like, but look at how I'm like my Filipino accent comes out with certain letters and certain whatever. And so like I struggle bus sometimes. Like for a really long time, I could not say the word. Oh, thank you, Martha. Drawer. And I still sounds weird to me. Thank you, Abby. Drawer. And for years, I used to say Wednesday before I found out it's Wednesday. But I used to say Wednesday, and the youth that I used to work with loved it. They're like, oh, say it again. And I was like, what, Wednesday? And they're like, oh, so yeah. Let's see. Kristen said I saw some press about them getting ready for Big Moods season 2. That would be exciting. I think someone actually, I think Ronnie sent them. I mean, so I think I heard about that. Queen C said I love when she has her box to stand on by Luke N. LOL. Megan said the mirror inverts the photo. Oh, okay. The taller person is actually standing to the right of Nick. Ooh. Oh. Okay. Oh, wait, no. Okay, for a second when you said that, it made me think, oh, maybe there was somebody who tagged me in, oh, wait, was it Johari? Maybe it was Johari that tagged me in a video from someone and said, is it this one? And I was like, no, because of the I just didn't think it was because of like where the person was standing, because the person was to the left instead of right. But if it was inverted, that's something else. However, the reason I still don't think the photo that they showed was the right one was simply because I am fairly sure in the picture the person is wearing a white shirt that is then covered by something blue, like a blue something or other. Also, I was saying that person was showing like Luke was showing his wonderful chest hair, you know? But in this photo that is on Nicola's like phone thing, it was not. It was somebody with a white shirt, undershirt of some sort, with a something blue, I think, on top of it. The Greenbird Brigade said, I bet Luke N and Luke T have a joke about who is taller. Yeah, probably. Lynn78KKB said, did Nicola post a pic today? I don't know if post, but did do a story. And was that today or was that was yesterday? So it was, so not today. Sissy G said, tell me why all of us are questioning if we are blind because of this Polaroid. Maria said, someone said tallest brother. Kristen said, I saw say Jor Now I'm like draw. One of my main New York accent things. Draw. See, I still struggle. Draw. Yeah. It's literally like it takes so much energy for me to say the word. Cass said, "Has anyone tried to brighten the pic to see the Polaroid better?" I mean, I felt like I did. That's why I felt like when I did do, I forgot what filter of color it was. That's when I felt like, oh, I can see the person. Like if I didn't do that, I would not have seen the figure as clearly as I felt. Even though, again, people think it's like total blob, I feel like I see the figure fairly quick. I mean, I see it better on the second photo, the one that actually stayed on Nicola's story, than the first photo she actually provided. Melissa said, okay, Polaroid, hear me out. The behind the scenes pic where Lucas is in a black t-shirt and she has her wig and a hair cover net. He's on her right. The thing is, the t-shirt definitely is white. I mean, I shouldn't say definitely because, again, it's a blob. But I feel like it's a white shirt. Megan said, Galway premiere, look for that photo, selfie with the viewers in the back. Miss Twisted says Luke is a lefty. He's more comfortable with Nick on his left side. Yeah, typically. That's why I'm saying, like, when she is on his right, he tends to lean more. He tends to reach out more to her when that happens. I mean, at least that's what people told me. Because when I was trying to find interviews with her to his right, they're like, we barely see any of that. It rarely happens. But when it does, he tends to reach out more. Devilishly Yellow says some people have done season 4 fittings. Maybe Luke and Nicola took a new one. Ooh. Ooh. I like that theory. Ooh. I like that theory. Because the picture that I feel like I'm looking at, thanks, Tanya. It looked like it was at a time that they're filming Bridgerton, but maybe not. It's just like, it just reminded me of like Bridgerton outfit or whatever, but maybe would they have come in at the same time? How long is his hair right now? Forget. I mean, that might be a possibility. I don't put that out as a possibility. Like, I mean, I don't think that that's not I think it's a possibility. Maybe. And just reminding folks that if anybody starts speaking about adjacent folks, folks get muted. And just in case you wonder, why it's happening. Kristen said we only know that Luke T had fittings. They took pics of him. Yeah. The Greenbird Brigade said the Polaroid wouldn't be anything we have seen because they have not shared any Polaroids. Exactly. Like I said, like, we don't know, like, what Polaroids are available. I mean, have been taken, except the ones that they've shown us. So yeah, we wouldn't know. It's just the outfit definitely reminded me of something that Luke has already worn. TK said the shipper has a video on the new Polaroid. I heard people say that. It might have already. I think maybe somebody already showed it to me, because I still don't think that the thing has been found. But the Greenbird Brigade saying, like, you know, we're not going to know the Polaroid, because here's the thing, we're looking at things that exist. Like, we don't know like if it's a photo of something that we would not be privy of. It's just that when I was like, this has got to be Luke, it's because of the outfit. It just reminded me of an outfit he would have worn. But at the same time, it's like maybe another person that she knows would wear an outfit like that. I don't know. Lauren said, maybe it's a statement we went from our dating era to Mr. and Mrs. Bridgerton, thus the new pick. Um, um, Flowerwood Star says, we're so going to lose our minds if she gets a solid phone case. Genevieve said, let's ask Orion. LOL. Giraffe Friend says, can you explain to me what you mean by Luke adjacents? I'm sorry, I can't figure it out. That just means that if it's not Luke and if it's not Nicola, then they're adjacent. Like, so if you want a good rule of thumb, well, I guess that doesn't answer things because we talked about Luke Thompson, and technically that's adjacent to Luke and Nicola as well. But that's still spoken in the Bridgerton context. Usually, adjacents try to detract from conversations about Luke and Nicola so they can be centered. And we're not going to center adjacent folks. KM Shoppy said, let's do a poll about the photo. What do you want the poll to be? Ava said, I'm so unbothered because I know I'm not getting off the ship till 2026 if Lucala don't happen before then. I mean, sometimes, it's all about timing. It genuinely is. Folks were there with Caroline and myself last night in Caroline's live. Like, really, it does come down to timing. It really does. Sometimes, if you pursue it too early, things fall apart. That would have been better if you just waited a little bit longer. I know it's hard to wait, but better to wait than have it not work out. Kristen said, but Luke T is on the show, so that's fine. Yeah, the Greenberg Brigade said it's fine. You can say we just don't talk about the... yeah. Not gonna read it. Giraffe Friend said, oh, it is what I thought, but didn't want to get muted. Thank you. Tanya's, I mean, yeah, I mean, that is the faster way to say Greenberg Brigade. I think I've just gotten so used to just calling it adjacent, that even just saying that just kind of makes me recoil. But just because it's not only about them, because it's honestly anything that ends up. I'm not even talking about just Luke adjacents. I'm talking about Nick adjacent folks too, because I'm starting to see that start to happen now, and I'm like, the same rules that I had around not wanting to hear about Luke adjacent folks, I don't want to hear about Nick adjacent folks either. Because now all the speculations about Nick and who, Nicola might be dating or what her friends are doing, same things are happening now. Like, I don't need to know what JVN is posting. I don't. So when I say adjacents, I don't just mean Luke's adjacents. I mean Nicola's adjacents. Because, again, they're putting more stories to things that they're not putting out themselves. So my question is, did y'all still want to continue to talk about Polaroids? Or did you want to move on to talking about, like, what are we going to do for this last push? Okay, so in the last 30 minutes, and I'm not saying that the next 30 minutes is only about this conversation, because you might want to do one other topic before I head off, but did folks want to talk about, like, how are we going to get them to, past season 1 of Bridgerton? Because frankly, Um, I realized Netflix is not going to give me an answer that I feel fully like excited about, because the surest thing we could do is just watch the totality, part 1 and part 2. Um, because I think I got so hung up over the first 30 days, and the 91 days and how all that works with the split. And people make it sound more simple than I feel like it is in my brain, but I don't like to complicate it for other people. So I'm like, the simple answer is watch part 1 and part 2. All of it. Just part 1 and part 2. Because because here's the thing. This is how weekly views were counted. It's always the amount of minutes or hours, total hours, divided by runtime. So for weekly, for shows that have things come out on a weekly basis, they would say if one episode was available and you watched that one episode, that week, that was considered a view. But if 2 episodes were out and you watch one of those episodes, that would be considered 0.5 view, because you didn't watch the whole thing that was available to you. You just watched one episode. So they're saying, hey, we are not counting anything until both parts were released. So one person was trying to explain it to me by saying, well, when you watched it in May, that was 0.5. And when you watched this part 2 in June, that was 0.5. That equals the 1 view. But the reason I get caught up in my brain about it is the fact that I'm like, but you still had 30 days of people watching part 1. Does it create does it create an advantage to Bridgerton season 3 if that 30 days is counted? I don't know, but I've given up on figuring that out. Netflix has not given a solid answer. People think that the blurb on the top 10 is an answer. I don't think it is. I think it is still confusing to me. But I'm just going to give it up and just say, just watch part 1, part 2. If there's things that you don't like, just watch it on a faster speed. But I watch things on a faster speed naturally anyway. I watch things in a 1.5 speed. And Netflix, it goes as high as 1.5 speed. So I don't know. Right now, where am I? I am. Okay, that's Benedict. Oh, ew! I'm sorry. I hate mice, and it's the scene where the mice come out. Ugh. I used to have like this big phobia of mice. Like I couldn't even look at Mickey Mouse. I know, it was ridiculous. Okay, this is where Cressida. This is episode 7, where Cressida finds out that there was a redhead. That was Lady Whistledown. Okay, so. GL Benner said, my daughter texted me because she couldn't watch her show because I was running on 2 screens. I said, sorry, girl. Emily629 said, the girl who runs What's on Netflix posted the requirements on Twitter. And yeah, and I've heard that. And yet at the same time, the only reason I wasn't definitively sure about it was because I guess I really just wanted to hear it from someone who actually works at Netflix. I recognize that there are folks that is their passion, and they know it in other ways, and could be actually very accurate with what they said. But this is the first time a split has happened like this. I mean, like that would hit the top 10 in this manner, I guess. Is it? Maybe not. I don't know. So I just feel like, I don't know. I need to feel secure about the answers, because I think people said that it's September 16th was the cutoff. But I had also heard from people it was September 11, and some people September 13. And it's like, those days make a difference. Jay said there's mice. Yeah, right in the scene, right before they show Cressida getting out of the carriage to talk to that one guy who said there was a redhead. Segmine said, but since it's per hour, doesn't it mean we can't fast speed? No, it means you're still watching. You're still watching the minutes. Um, their point is like the minutes of the show. They can't penalize you for watching it from 1.5 speed. They can't say, "Oh, you're not really watching it," because there's many people, myself included, that do watch shows at 1.5 speed. I prefer it, especially if it's like slower paced. Um, with that said, fast forwarding it wouldn't count because fast forwarding means you're not watching at all. And I know people are like, "Isn't it the same thing?" It's not the same thing. Fast forward is is literally skipping scenes versus watching at 1.5 speed is you're watching it, but it's just faster. So I don't know how to describe it better than that because fast forwarding is like, I don't know what speed fast forwarding is, but it's not in a watchable speed, I guess is what I would say. Whereas they think that 1.5 is a watchable speed because it is. For me, it is absolutely 100%. Two speed is sometimes difficult for me. I can't watch most things at 2 speed. I can watch things sometimes at 1.75 speed. There are some things I can watch in 2 speed, and genuinely, it feels like it's going at 1 speed for me. Kurt Singh said, "To be fair, Mickey Mouse is terrifying." Flower with stars says, "Does watching 1.5 times not make it less minutes because it's going faster?" Um, I've never considered that to be the case because it's based off of the runtime of the show. And that would be kind of wild to me if they penalize people because they tend to need to watch shows in a faster speed. Doesn't mean I'm not watching the show. I'm really watching. I'm not watching it right now, but I'm typically watching the show. So, Lauren said, "Are we doing another rewatch together?" Well, I did watch. I mean, it's long. It's a long day. I had an 8-hour one on Tuesday, so unless I'm able to do another 8 hours, it'd be difficult. Maybe I could do it if I split it up into multiple days. But what I ended up doing was watching that like on mute because I got dinged. Like there was restrictions that were put up because I showed the screen and then they could hear it. But someone reminded me to wear headphones and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I guess I do have headphones." And so I might do a rewatch where I'm watching it with the audio description. Um Seg is this saying mine said, "But it is per hour." Yes, but it is based off of runtime. So um when they say minutes, they literally mean the actual minutes of the show. And so just because you're watching it in 1.5 speed doesn't mean that the show decreases in minutes of what you're watching. It just means you're watching it in a faster speed. Um, so I don't know how better to describe that. At the same time, I'm like, I understand if like my explanation is lacking because I feel like Netflix's explanation of how they're counting minutes is lacking for me. So I can recognize I can recognize if my own explanation is lacking. So hopefully someone else can be better at explaining it than me. Okay. Swanky, I've been fast forwarding through the threesomes, so all my whole show watches don't count. No, it's still what you watch still counts. Just the minutes you fast forwarded won't count. So they'll take all the minutes you watched and divide it by total runtime of a show. So if you ended up watching the majority, let's say you watch 0.75 of the show, it wouldn't be a full one view, but it would be still 0.75 or it would be a 0.5. They'll still count the minutes you actually watch. They just don't count the things you fast forwarded. Kim said, "Do the intro and credits count?" That would be considered runtime. So that's why I think most people don't actually typically do a full one view, because most people don't watch the credits more than once, if they even watch it once. Some people might do the intro each time, but yeah, it should include intro and credits typically. It won't count commercials if you have commercials. I finally bought like the version where it doesn't have commercials. So, but if you have the free version that has commercials, not free version, but like the most basic version, you would have commercial. Stephanie said it. So if I watch 30 minutes today and 30 minutes tomorrow, will that count for an hour? It would be an hour. So they would take that 1 hour and divide it by the runtime of episodes. So it would not be considered like a view. Like it wouldn't be considered one view. In order for it to be considered one view, it would have to equal the amount of minutes that all 8 episodes are equal to. So all the minutes of the 8 episodes, that's how many minutes you must watch in order for it to be considered one view. Estella said, I watched it in Spanish today, all 7 episodes. I skipped the first. LOL, it's more romantic. Yeah, they count minutes too, like Kristen says. Yep. When I say they take the total hours divided by total runtime, I mean, those hours are based off of the minutes. So yes, those minutes count. Abby said, so they're only counting the carriage scene. Someone did say that they felt like they watched 8 episodes worth of just the carriage scene. So I was like, if you're, they said, did me watching the carriage scene, is that enough? And I was like, if you watched it 8 episodes worth, yeah. Kristen said credits shouldn't count. They offer you to skip. Yes, they offer you to skip. But, and maybe I'm wrong, and people can fact check me. When you usually ask what is the total runtime, it includes the credits. Just because you can skip it does not mean that it doesn't count as part of the view. But somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. But usually that's a requirement even when you go to the movie theaters. Total runtime includes, should include the intro and the credits, and not just the actual bulk of the movie itself. Jessica Lynn said, if anything, I'm rewinding, not fast forwarding. I love the pollen scenes. Jane said, dang, watching the credits is crazy. Mine just skips to next episode. Yeah, well, I mean, it defaults to that, but I have done stuff where I've not requested it to go to the next episode. I've asked it to stop. Teresita said, oh, if we skip intro, it doesn't count. I mean, those minutes don't count. Just as long as, like, the runtime, and I guess the way you can fact check this is whatever minutes you see right next to the episodes, if that includes the credits, then that is the runtime. So if you look at go on your Netflix right now and it says the amount of minutes next to it, and you see like 52 minutes. If you look at it and you see 52 minutes, it's at the end where the credits are, then yes, that is considered the runtime. User 3582526745888. Usually I actually say user with a lot of numbers right behind it. I don't know why I read it this time, but if only edits on TT Tumblr counted, the music free scenes probably would take it to number 1. Actually, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I think a lot of people have ended up watching those a lot. And maybe even a lot more than the ones with the music and on the show. Jane said, I always watch intros. Stephanie said, yeah, I just want to make sure that all the little bits I watch add up and it's not wasted. Yeah, all of the minutes that you're watching adds up. Like, you don't have to watch a whole, like, scene. Like a whole episode or season. Yeah, a whole episode in order for it to count, or all of the shows. It's just helpful. I think it's much easier to get that one view when we do that, but it's not necessary. Kimura girl said, my question, does the download version count? No. because they cannot tell how many times you've watched it. So if you downloaded a video, downloaded the episodes and have been watching it as a downloaded version, they're not going to count those as views because they don't know how many times you've watched that. It has to be on the Netflix platform so they can count how many times you're watching it. Um, Flower with Star says if you have a laptop or TV, you can just leave running all day. You can do that without having to watch. Yeah, that's what I've actually been doing. Oh, okay. Minnie says, "Hey, honey, someone just messaged and asked, are you still thinking of a UK trip?" Yeah. So what I'm doing right now is I will take it seriously once I have at least like 100 subscribers because it takes a lot of work to kind of put something together. And part of the reason why I would want 100 subscribers at the bare minimum is so that it's easier to potentially go to companies and say, hey, I want to take a group of 50 people to London for the, well, is it London? I don't remember. But like, so, can we get deals or things of that nature? And part of it too is like subscribers. Hopefully, I'm fairly sure you have to say who you are, and there's a little bit more trust in there. With that said, not always, right? Like just because someone is a subscriber to me doesn't mean I'm gonna feel comfortable. Because if I don't engage with a person ever, like never once, and they've never like uh shared a little bit of who they are, I mean, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. Um, I mean, I'm not saying like people have to bare their soul or anything, but I'm just like, I get more comfortable when somebody's saying, oh, I wasn't even looking down, Minnie. I'm sorry for saying honey, by the way. I don't mean any harm. I live in North Carolina and I call people honey and sugar. No offense taken. So it's more helpful to me to figure out, okay, who's the 50 people who would go potentially to it. I know some people want to go when the premiere happens. If that happens, I feel like that's so expensive, but I guess depending on when it is, people can start saving for it. Um, and so yeah, so I don't know all the logistics, but I do want to consider doing it, but I don't want to consider doing it if I don't even have like anywhere close to 100 subscribers, because it's like that's going to be a lot of work, and then I don't even know like who the people are, versus if they are subscribers and we've engaged in all these different things, then I feel like, okay, it's safer to have these folks coming with me overseas. I mean, some people might be coming from different places, so people are going to be responsible for their own airfare and all that stuff. But like what I would probably be helping out on is like figuring out like lodging options that people can have. Somebody said like it's best not to book large, like book what do you call it, like large blocks of rooms, because I would be held financially responsible for it. So instead, I probably would try to figure out like if there's ways to suggest hotels without having to commit to like, oh, I'm gonna book all these rooms, and then it turns out like people like pull out at the last minute, because I'm not a millionaire. I can't. I'm not rolling in any dough that I could do that. So yeah, so there's a lot of pieces to it that I would have to think about, but yes, I do want to do that, and I do want to do it for folks who are subscribers. Now, mind you, I recognize that some folks cannot subscribe, and so maybe someday in the future, like a trip would be available, but it's like even the aspect of a trip is very, very expensive. It's like very, very expensive. So, all of it would require like planning and saving. And the thing is, like, one of the things I had said to folks is if people subscribe to me, like I'm trying to think of like what are realistic things that can be born out of that. I don't want people to feel like they're only getting content, but that somehow like we could do like trips to, like maybe it won't be a trip to to do a Bridgerton tour. Maybe it's just literally it's just a meetup with folks that happen to be in each other's neighborhood or whatever. Like do once, I don't know. I don't know. I could dream because I want to travel at least 3 times a year out of the country. So it'd be nice to be like choose a country where I know that there's a lot of subscribers and say, "Hey, let's do a meetup over here or meetup over there." Um I don't know. So all of that is just dreaming. I definitely don't know all the pieces though. Stephanie said, does it cost money to subscribe? I can't afford any extra right now. Unfortunately, it does, Stephanie. So it is $5.99 per month. Um, I get $2.10 of that $5.99, and the rest goes to TikTok. Thanks, Rachel. Tam says, I'm definitely going to start putting money to the side. My goal was to go in 2026 anyway. Yeah, because when would the premiere happen? Would the premiere happen? Because when are they planning to release season 4? Karen said, I'm in for any meetup. Yeah, yeah. Oh, you're freezing? I'm freezing? Oh, okay. Kristen said, found it. Netflix waits until all episodes are out for most popular list to start counting 91 days. Yeah, it's just... Yeah, the only reason I get caught up in that statement, Kristen, is just around like the fact that the first 30 days, part 1 was available to view, and were they going to count that? But I've have to learn to let it go sometime in my brain because it's just going to drive me insane unless they give me a definitive answer. Yeah, Tam said like Bridgerton theme meetup. Yeah, and I would actually love someday to like even do like I would love to go to Brazil, right? And just go and like, oh, let's go to the restaurant that they were they had a photograph with a security guard at or something like I don't know. So I mean there's many possibilities where it's not just like the Bridgerton thing. So just because a person can't maybe go on this particular trip doesn't mean that there might not be another one in the future. But I also don't want to create unrealistic expectations of what I can actually do because the reality is I don't even have the 10,000 followers needed to monetize the page. Subscription is like the closest thing that I have, and also the live gifts that people give. So it's, if I had all the money in the world, I would love to like find out ways to make certain things happen. But sometimes the biggest way to have any pull in with companies when you ask them for deals or anything is that they feel like there is actually a market for it, or like they know that people are going to actually follow through with like having people show up and whatnot. So I'm freezing. Oh, blasted. I'm freezing. Okay. Am I still freezing? I'm still freezing. GL Benner said, Phoebe, you need to look at the screen instead of looking up LOL. Yeah, sorry. I'm like, sometimes I'm thinking in my brain about stuff. And so it's just, I don't know. But Stephanie says it's still, like I need to exit out and come back. Me, Tam? I only have 7 minutes before I gotta go. Am I still freezing? Or is this one of those things like last time where I had a concussion? Where I was talking about me having a concussion. And I was talking as if like, oh my word. And people were like, can you stop? It's already been over for like minutes. Okay, it's good now. Okay. So, okay. Oh, okay. Tam said, not for me anymore. People need to exit and come back. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, so anyways, all to say, am I hoping to like go with meet people and do that? I do. I also don't want to make promises that I cannot keep. But I know that once I hit if I ever hit 100 subscribers, like and like ones that I know will be consistently consistently like be there every month kind of thing, then it might be like, if then I'll feel safer to kind of like, okay, we can try to plan something. But before that, I'm not sure I'm fully willing to risk that, because I need some sort of like landing pad or something. And to be all in all honesty, because TikTok takes so much of the money, and I get $2.10